Hi everyone, it's Paul from Alexandria Knife Sharpening. So the other day I got a couple texts that were a little panicked from a new sharpener who's just started out, but his business is picking up. And he put a couple scratches in a woman's Wusthof knives, and and they were right across the middle, and he wanted to know how to get them out. And his first question was, hey, Paul, can I get these out with the cheap Chinese dental abrasives? So I am going to do a little bit more in depth on the Chinese dental abrasives to kind of help you guys out to know like where to start with trying to correct something like that. But I think the first thing we should absolutely talk about, I have addressed this before, but this is important, is how to avoid this in the first place. Okay. And I've had it happen to me. The first time I had it happen was on these 1x30 buckle guides. I had one that had a little sharp piece of metal on it and drug it across, someone's knife, and it put a scratch in it. And from that point on, after going through what I went through to fix that and take that scratch out, I try and stay on top of this because it is something that can happen, and you do want to be aware. So I've shown everyone before, I love the green painter's tape to use this on the angle guides. And this is like the first weapon in keeping this from happening. Replace this tape regularly when you see it start to get worn, or if it gets holes in it, or if you see it filled up with a bunch of stuff. Replace it. Another thing you can do is to blow out your gear. So I have a compressed air tank, air compressor over here with a blow valve, and you'll see here I can just go. And did you see all that stuff just fly out of there? I'll hit that with my little it's a California Air Tools air compressor. And, I'm going to show you guys this because I freaking love this thing. I've had this for some time now. I don't think I've ever shown it in a video before. It's under my table down here. So it's just this little guy down here. Now, this isn't a big giant one for pounding nails and that kind of stuff. But let me show you how quiet this thing is. I'm going to run it till it turns on. You hear that? It is so quiet. I absolutely love this air compressor. So it's great for blowing stuff out. But the other reason I love it is because it's really quiet. So in my shop, I have another full-sized air compressor that can handle, tools that really require a lot of air. That's all the way over there in the corner. You might see it right over here, that blue air compressor. The problem with that thing that I hate about it is, one, when it turns on, it's super loud. I mean, like scary loud. And that one's a 200 PSI. And I forget how many gallons it is, but it's pretty big. And it just runs forever. And it's super annoying. So I only use it when I need something more powerful. Because I do have some air tools like... I do have a 3M air sander that I will sometimes use. I have an electric one too, but no, like these things are out there. Now, if you can't afford a air compressor just yet, or you don't want to spend the money on an air compressor, just get one of these. Okay, at Costco you can get these dust off. I buy them in the case because sometimes it's not even convenient. Like I keep my compressor close to these machines, but I use this even on my laser to blow the keyboards off. So just a little compressed air you can get in there and blow stuff out. And I will regularly get in, and when nothing's running right now, but when I have my downdraft table running, I will every so often just get in here and blow stuff so that it all goes down into the downdraft table. And I'll even help the downdraft table by getting in there and kind of blowing in the grates and make sure all that metal is getting down into the filter and out of the way. Now, why is that important? Because, well, it's the loose abrasives that can also cause those scratches and knife finishes that you want to make sure you're not getting into the tape and in your somewhere on your machine where you're going to run up against it and scratch someone's knife. Now, the main time to look out for this is mostly using more of like your Kubatron style belts. Now, I've never had this problem with a Trizac belt. So that's the other good thing. Trizac belts don't really shed anything. Unlike, more heavy abrasives that are more, I guess, of a ceramic style. Like, I'll show you some of these. Like, this is a heavy 36 grit belt from Combat Abrasives. And it's super if you got a lot of hogging material to remove. But it does throw little particles all over the place. And even when you get a brand new Kubatron belt out, in the very beginning, it's gonna shed more abrasives, than it is, after you're a couple knives in. So some of this material is gonna come off, and that's another time when you got to be careful that you could get some abrasive somewhere where it could scratch something. So once you change out a new belt, keep an eye on that. Make sure you blow stuff down and clean it out. And then the other thing that I do regularly too is I have a good shop vac down here that's got a HEPA filter in it. And I will, as materials building up from all the sharpening, I'll grab the shop vac too and get in here and just like suck the stuff out and, get in there and wipe it down. Make sure you're not feeling anything sharp. Make sure all your edges, if you've converted your angle guides like I do, make sure they're smooth because you don't want to, scratch something like because of that. The other reason you want to make sure these are smooth too, and I ran into this recently, is if it's not smooth, you could tear a belt up if it goes a little bit off track. And I had to fix this one on this Toolker here. It was a little too sharp down here. And one day I had a belt that kind of ran over off the edge a bit and it hit down in here, and it literally started shredding the belt because there was a sharp part in here. So make sure that if you cut these to make it better for knife sharpening, also make sure you get in there and do some smoothing and sanding of that down so that you don't have any sharp edges. And those are my tips for avoiding scratching the finish on somebody's knife. And if you do those things, you really shouldn't have that happen. But I'm going to work on a more in-depth video of how to remove scratches. So look for that. I'm starting to shoot that now. That'll come out soon because I'm going to go over more of the polishing stuff because everybody always asks about it. It's probably the number one thing that everybody asks about. And I'll just show you over here because here's the new thing that I've added for the past couple months is these larger 3-inch radial disc abrasives. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about them. You can see I got 2 machines running them, and I still have them on my Fordham tools, and I also use them in my Dremel tools. But I'm going to go into more in depth on that because I think a lot of people have some misconceptions on how much of a scratch they're capable of removing. They are capable of removing scratches, but they're not going to remove really deep scratches. But I'm going to show you the techniques to deal with if you have a deep scratch in another video. So that's it. But just be sure that you're, doing those cleaning and maintenance tips to avoid scratching the knife in the first place, because it is a pain to fix. And trust me, you'd rather be sharpening more knives than fixing damage to a knife that you accidentally do by scratching the finish on something. All right, so that's it for now. Have a great day, everybody, and I will catch you later. All right, so that's it for this video. And just a reminder again, I will put links to whatever you saw in this video in the description of the video, but also on that area on my website, which you can get to at the top on YouTube by clicking alxsharpen.com, which is my website. I have a section for sharpeners, which is just for you guys out there that are sharpening knives, and I have the links to all my current products. The other video I'm going to be doing soon is I'm going to do, again, one of the great questions the firefighter asked me was, Paul, can you tell me why you like this machine better than the Harbor Freight ones that you built? And so I'm going to give you guys all the details of why I love this little sharpener a little bit more than I like my Harbor Freights. Now, I'm glad I have all of them, but if I had to just have one, my new choice would be this, and I will do a video on that of why that's my choice and show you all the cool things that I've learned over time now, having had this for a little while.